From the rising of the sun to its going down, the Lord's name is to be praised. Let us open our hearts to his presence and listen for his voice in the stillness of this evening hour. Our evening sacrifice, the desire of ages, chapter 44, the true sign, June 18th. Will your anchor hold in the storm of life, when the clouds unfold their wings of strife? When the strong tides lift and the cables strain, will your anchor drift or firm remain? The soul steadfast and sure, while the billows which cannot move, grounded firm and in the Savior's love. This chapter is based on Matthew 15, verse 29 to 31, Matthew 16, verse 1 to 12, Mark 7, 31 to 37, and Mark 8, 1 to 21. And again, departing from the coast of Tyre and Sidon, he came unto the Sea of Galilee, through the midst of the coast of Decapolis. And they bring unto him one that was deaf, and had an impediment in his speech, and they beseech him to put his hand upon him. Mark 7, verses 31 and 32. Again he went out from the borders of Tyre and came through Sidon unto the Sea of Galilee, through the midst of the borders of Decapolis. Mark 7:31. It was in the region of Decapolis that the demoniacs of Gergesa had been healed. Here the people, alarmed at the destruction of the swine, had constrained Jesus to depart from among them. But they had listened to the messengers he left behind, and a desire was aroused to see him. As he came again into that region, a crowd gathered about him, and a deaf, stammering man was brought to him. Jesus did not, according to his custom, restore the man by a word only. Taking him apart from the multitude, he put his hands in the air and touched his tongue. Looking up to heaven, he sighed, at thought of the ears that would not be open to the truth, the tongues that refused to acknowledge the Redeemer. At the word, "be open," the man's speech was restored, and disregarding the command to tell no man, he published abroad the story of his cure. Jesus went up into a mountain, and there the multitude flocked to him, bringing their sick and lame, and laying them at his feet. He healed them all. And the people, heeding as they were, glorified the God of Israel. For 3 days they continued to throng about the Savior, sleeping at night in the open air, and through the day pressing eagerly to hear the words of Christ and to see his works. At the end of 3 days their food was spent. Jesus would not send them away hungry, and he called upon his disciples to give them food. Again the disciples revealed their unbelief. At Bethesda, they had seen how, with Christ's blessing, their little store availed for the feeding of the multitude, yet they did not now bring forward their all, trusting his power to multiply it for the hungry crowds. Moreover, those whom he fed at Bethesda were Jews. These were Gentiles and heathen. Jewish prejudice was still strong in the hearts of the disciples, and they answered Jesus, "Whence can a man satisfy these men with bread here in the wilderness?" But obedient to his word, they brought him what they had, 7 loaves and 2 fishes. The multitude were fed. 7 large baskets of fragments remained. 4,000 men, besides women and children, were thus refreshed, and Jesus sent them away with glad and grateful hearts. This passage was taken from The Desire of Ages, page 404 to 405. Pacific Press Publishing Association, copyright 2005, or Evening Sacrifice, June 18th. I encourage you to connect with God and receive strength to overcome obstacles each day. Thank you for listening. Please join us tomorrow as we offer up our evening sacrifice.